Hi, Andrew Bell here. Well, here we are in the second half of the year, and I don't know about you, but I always find the second half of the year flies through ever so fast. In a couple of weeks, it'll only be 5 months until Christmas. Well, of course, the last week has been quite dramatic with what we've seen in Greece and now with the Chinese stock market. And for my way of thinking, it just reaffirms how important and significant real estate is as a great investment. And there's every prospect we're going to see even lower interest rates come through as a result of this turmoil. So hold on to your hats. I think there's some really good times ahead for real estate. In the last e-newsletter, we looked at the demand for real estate, but today, a quick glance at how we're going on the supply side. Obviously, resales are everything other than brand new stock. One of the biggest issues in the market present is an acute shortage of properties on the market in most markets throughout Australia, and most definitely on the Gold Coast. That lack of supply, when married together with the increased demand through the number of buyers in the marketplace, is what's driving real estate prices higher. However, we can't keep driving all of the supply into resale properties, so the more of that demand that we can channel into buying brand new stock, the more that we'll see relief from pressures of resale property. And so the construction of new stock is a very important ingredient to that supply and demand. Now, dwelling approvals are a lead indication, and it is good to see that the Australian Bureau of Statistics data showing approvals for new housing are continuing to surge across the country. In fact, in March, there were 19,419 new dwellings approved, which was a record high and 2.8% higher than the same period last year. Over the past 12 months, there's been a record number of 210,484 dwellings approved for construction, which over the full year is 11.2% higher than the same time last year. The graph on screen now shows building approvals going back some 30 odd years, and we do see irregularities in approval numbers from month to month. So looking at overall, you'll see the 12-month trends reflected in that graph. It's really important to note here that history has shown that 18% of approvals never reach construction phase. Sometimes developers can't get finance, other times the developer has a change of heart, or indeed the concept doesn't get off the ground for a lack of customer support. That is why it's really important to look at more, perhaps closely, at the actual construction levels, not just approvals. I also think that most people know that there's been a significant increase in the number of apartments under construction. The reasons are numerous, such as it provides a lower entry price for buyers, meets the demand for inner city living, and generally provides superior rental returns for investors. However, it is in this area, apartment construction, that we actually find a higher proportion of projects not moving from approval stage to construction. So that needs to be watched moving forward. One of the reasons we particularly need more overseas investors is it will give developers the confidence to build projects and subsequently provide more housing supply for Australians as well. These approval levels are fantastic news after a decade of under construction numbers, and we need to make sure that we keep development moving along at a steady pace. So it's not just a brief period of time, this period right now, where we see the construction, but over a long term to give us the real flow-on benefits. In terms of actual construction, the latest figures from the Housing Industry Association reflects that there were 195,936 new housing starts, which is up 7.7% on the same time last year. The forecast is for about 196,000 during 2015, largely driven by the really strong apartment market in Victoria. Of course, with the ageing population, our developers have to be acutely aware of the changing demand for new developments. And the more that we supply the needs to the baby boomers, retiring baby boomers, the more resale properties that will open up for the younger population coming through. A recent study by the Housing Institute Association predicts that we require 186,000 new dwellings per annum from now till the year 2050 just to meet our housing demands. The Reserve Bank also estimates 15% of all new dwelling construction is simply replacing established properties that have been demolished for a new home to be built, or redevelopment. Their research also shows a significant proportion of new dwelling investment goes into holiday homes or second homes, and of course that's not helping the housing supply to the general population. Now, the final graph on screen shows the gap between housing demand and housing supply. And you can see that whilst we still remain with a very big gap between both, it is slowly starting to close. The black line at the top is the population growth, which skyrocketed before the GFC and is now easing back somewhat, but still extremely high. And the red is dwelling approvals. But remember, what I said before, 18% don't even get to construction. Well, that's it for this fortnight. By the way, we only have 8 tables left at our annual Ray White Surfers Paradise Muscular Dystrophy Ball on the 5th of September. It's going to be a fabulous night, as it always is. So many people continue to come back year after year. It'd be great to have you there. So gather some friends and come along and have a fun night with us for a great cause. Details of our ball coordinator, Selena Carson, are on screen, and we'll look forward to taking your call. I look forward to catching up with you towards the end of July. Kind regards for now.